analysis, only I want you to be objective about your child. And it means you need to break down the different skills and actually describe what are my child's strengths in this area and what are the key weaknesses. And this is being specific. And this is where I think a lot of parents, like ones that I've worked with for many years, sometimes are very vague, like she doesn't seem to comprehend. Well, that's not very specific. It may be that she only can't draw conclusions, or she doesn't see the big idea, or maybe she doesn't even know who the main characters are. Right. Maybe she can't decode. So in reading, that would be some areas of weakness, but maybe some of her strengths are that she's a great listener for the stories and she can remember what she's listening to. So maybe you've just talked yourself into understanding that audiobooks are a good choice. Writing, you want to know what are the child's strengths and what are the child's weaknesses. And on this one, I'm going to toss in a freebie because a lot of students who have trouble with writing are kids that have undiagnosed auditory processing problems. Yes. And they cannot put their thoughts into words. And this is just as likely to be true of students on the spectrum as well. Yeah. Whether from mild to, well, I won't say it certainly isn't a problem for the nonverbal, but in many degrees on the spectrum, putting their thoughts into words can be a very hard thing to do orally, let alone to put it down in writing. And in the book, I've got lots and lots of specific strategies that you can try. But let's just pick a simple one. Let's just say your child has trouble keeping your letters on the line. All right, so how do we do that? There are specific ways that would be an area of weakness. But maybe they're using a wonderfully colorful vocabulary and they can illustrate what they're writing. And so as you scroll down this document, you would go through all the different areas of where your child has some strengths and where your child has weaknesses. Math, some students may have some specific behavioral issues. They get frustrated, they melt down. Right. Let me give you a specific example over years that I've had working with students who have dyslexia. One of the weaknesses that they have is oral reading. When they read out loud, they're using far more sections of the brain to get the decoding, to give them whole words, to get the whole words embedded in a sentence, to link the sentence into what they've just read, link that to what they already know with general knowledge, and somehow make sense out of it. Yeah. And if they're decoding very slowly, the sentence meanings just disappear. Right. Well, what happens when they've been doing that for 5 or 10 minutes, they just simply melt down. It would be like, I'm going to ask that child to do 50 sit-ups for me right now. And you and I can pretty much guess, or if you ask the mom to do it, right. It can't be done. But if you give them time to rest and say, let's work on the arms a little bit, or we'll do something else, and then we'll go back to it, then the child has a break. And so just be prepared for that as a reading issue where you're going to see meltdowns, but it's not a behavioral issue. Right. It really isn't. Mm-hmm. The second behavioral issue I want to address is not necessarily kids who have diagnosed, psychiatric issues or anything else. And that is, it's easier to not try than it is to try and know I'm going to fail. Mm-hmm. And because that attitude embeds itself into the child, they withdraw from trying. Yeah. And what's the first thing they're going to hear? He's being lazy. Right. He isn't trying hard enough. Mm-hmm. I know you can get it if you work harder. And so we pound on them to motivate them when in fact we're pushing them further and further away from thinking that they can try. Mm-hmm. If you see the child continually acting like they can't do it, they don't want to do it, they're unable to do it, mm-hmm. they may be protecting what little they have left of their self-esteem. Yeah. And I think I'm hearing some of that for a lot of kids that are doing this online instruction right now. Oh, yeah. They're melting down. They feel like, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, all of these are just categories, and you may find that some of these motor skills may not be a problem for your child, or attention deficit may not be a problem, but when you're looking at a document like this, you're going to begin, let me restate that. You're going to see some patterns emerge.
Ah, yes.
All right.